subscribe. Tariq Radio. Like and subscribe.
Then you have a lot of these people trying to use these scare tactics on us. Notice that? They keep trying to do that. Every day you get these Hispanics and the non-FBA tether class talking about we gonna be next. Ooh, y'all gonna be next. And Trump said something about criminals, getting criminals and sending them somewhere, paying some country to take them in. He said something to that effect. So a lot of the tether class, they was like, ooh, that's a dog whistle for Black Americans. Ooh, that's a dog whistle. Because you had some white supremacist trolls hopping in the comments like, oh yeah, let's send some of the blacks to Wakanda and all of that stuff. Yeah, that's all cap. Let me set something straight. Let me get something straight for the family. Okay. Let's get some shit straight about foundational Black Americans being taken out of the US. Let me get that straight so y'all can understand something, family. We cannot be deported. We cannot be exiled. You understand? I want y'all to really, really grasp this. We as foundational Black Americans, even if they try to find some weird loophole or whatever, um, we cannot be exiled from the United States. Um, because of first the 14th Amendment, and they know it's for us, and everybody has said it's for us over and over again. They have explicitly said that the 14th Amendment was meant for us. Like, we're really one of the few groups that has a constitutional relationship with the United States. We've always been mentioned in the Constitution. We're one of the only groups. So yeah, they can't us out of here under no circumstances. See, the Constitution, it explicitly guarantees that all of us who were born here naturalized, we can't be stripped of our citizenship without due process. You understand? And deportation, that's legally reserved for non-citizens. Yeah. And also, that's a major violation. Even if they wanted to say, okay, we're going to get all the criminals, we'll criminalize you, and we're going to say that the criminals got to go, that violates the Eighth Amendment. That which prohibits cruel and unusual punishment, which is what forced exile will be. Also, that will violate international law, forcible exile of American citizens to another country, especially based on race or criminality. That would violate multiple international human rights treaties that the US has signed, like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which guarantees the right to nationality, and it prohibits arbitrary exile. You understand? There's also something called the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights that the US has ratified. So there's all types of international laws that wouldn't let that happen. And there's also legal precedents here at the Supreme Court against forced exile. There was a case in the 1950s, a guy named Trump. It was like Trump versus Dulles. And this guy who he was in the military and he was over in Morocco. Then he deserted the military, but then they caught him and then they made him work for no pay, and then they gave him a dishonorable discharge. And then as an act of punishment, some years later he tried to get his passport, and they said he couldn't get the passport because his citizenship was stripped because he deserted the military. Then he went and took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court was like, nah, y'all can't do that. Nah, 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 nah. You can't do that. You cannot strip his citizenship. You can't strip a person's citizenship as a form of punishment. Just can't do that. That violates the Eighth Amendment. There was another case, Afroyim versus Rusk, back in 1967. It was a Polish dude he came over here, immigrated, became a U.S. citizen, but then he went over to Israel because I think he was Jewish, and I think he voted over there. And because he voted for a foreign nation, they tried to strip his citizenship here. And then they went to the Supreme Court and they were like, nah, you can't do that because the person has to voluntarily renounce their citizenship. You can't strip them of it and revoke their citizenship arbitrarily. So there's case studies that just won't allow that to happen. You see, there's a lot of case studies that just won't let that happen. Also, just in a practical sense, man, just imagine, listen, on some real shit, if they tried to exile us. Let's just say um, the Trump administration, and they just flipped out one day and say we're gonna go for broke and be like, hey, we're gonna throw an executive order and say, hey, guess what? Got you niggas. We're tired of you. Um, Everybody's a criminal, and we're gonna start exiling black people out of here in mass. What do y'all think would happen? No, just first on a legal level, there's going to be immediate constitutional challenges and Supreme Court interventions. Legal scholars, there's going to be immediate lawsuits all over the place challenging that. The Supreme Court, they'll most likely issue an emergency injunction, striking it down as unconstitutional. It would get hit left and right. Also, there would be mass civil unrest all over the country on a massive scale. You understand? Man, federal buildings, airports, public transportation would be shut down. Also, there would be resistance within military and law enforcement. You got to understand how many black people are in law enforcement and the military. So a lot of them, and they just refuse to comply. There's politicians, there's mayors and governors and black senators, they would intervene. They would refuse to enforce the policy. It would be a constitutional crisis, man. And also, just think about the international condemnation and the sanctions with the United Nations and other US allies. They would denounce the policy. That would be a major human rights violation. Countries like China and Russia, they would use that as propaganda. That would delegitimize the United States on a global stage. The US would face economic sanctions, travel bans, wartime investigations. It would be a clusterflop if they did some bullshit to us. Do y'all understand what I'm saying? Also, there would be an economic collapse. We, as foundational Black Americans, we contribute over trillions of dollars in the US economy annually. Messing with us, that would cause economic devastation. You understand? That would cause a major economic upheaval. Wall Street investors would panic. The stock market would panic. Shit would go awry, man. And then let's see, hey, the streets, the violent resistance that'll turn up. If they were talking about taking us up out of here, you know how many people on the grassroots, on the streets would just go for broke? They're not going to let that happen. The streets would be hot. Armed self-defense groups, former military, gangsters, hustlers, YNs, man, the streets would be hot. It'll be a state of emergency. Also, certain states would start having sanctuary cities, so states wouldn't comply. So it would be a literal civil war if they tried that shit on us. It would be a political and societal breakdown. You dig? The cities where a lot of black people, you think they're gonna round niggas up in New Orleans, Atlanta, Houston, Dallas, Chicago. Come on now. Come on. That's not gonna go smooth. No, it would be a cluster flop out here. And Congress would move in. Any politician who would try to do that, Congress would move in to strip them of executive powers. Judges all across federal courts around the country, they would be striking it. The policy it'd be ruled illegal within days. Any attempted deportation, it'd be null and void. And also, if whatever political party did it, let's say the Republicans did it, if they did that, that would destroy the political party forever. Like if Trump were to do something like that, that would be the end of the Republican Party. Literally the end of them. No other Republican, if they pull some bullshit like that, they would never win a national election again. You dig? So that would be a cluster flop. It not only if they try to exile Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, no, it not only would it not fail, it would completely destabilize the United States. It will have nonstop civil unrest, economic collapse, global condemnations, um, civil war. That would be political suicide. And whoever did it would be faced with war crimes. It would be a wrap. Yeah, that would be the dumbest thing ever to try that bullshit. You understand? So yeah, talking about we next, save that bullshit. We ain't next for shit. You understand that? Just be very clear. We ain't next for nothing. We good. Now let me get some more. Let me get Sir Black, Great Black Shark in the building. Then I get Molan again. I'm gonna try you again, Molan. Great Black Shark, hop on, brother.
You doing? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. How are you, brother?
I'm grand, fam. I hope your family is blessed out there as well. But I want to quickly build on what you were just speaking on. And I'm glad that you educated the family on what that would actually look like from a logistical standpoint. Because if
I,
any of that happened and it got set off that way, Brother Tariq, the other component that I want to add to what you were saying as far as destabilization, all of our military opposition would seize that opportunity to invade.
yep.
It would be far too difficult to try to go about that in the way that a lot of these Democrat shillbillies, that's a lot what I like to call them, they're in the way that they're talking about with their scary asses. And see, too, another thing about that, let's just say it did happen. It would also separate those of us that are actually going to stand up and defend versus the cowards. And I think a lot of times these cowards are the ones that are the loudest about, oh my God, we next and all that. Most of them are tellers. But if there's anybody in our lineage talking like that, you are a disgrace and a dishonor to your entire bloodline and all your ancestors. Men, in times of test, we stand up and defend our people, and we are not afraid of these people. And the last thing I want to say is this: the model minorities are definitely getting their wake up call because all that attention that they spent focus on us trying to earn their little anti-black racist brownie points, they're going to have to focus inward now to deal with their own problems. They're looking at all of these external threats to the nation. So now this is the greatest opportunity for foundational Black American freedmen across generations to get on code, refine, taking care of our business, because while they're dealing with everybody else, that's the greatest opportunity for us to get organized and do what we got to do for each other. And I like to thank you for being influential and doing everything that you've been doing, brother. We got your back throughout this, and it's time to make some power moves. With that said, I'll land. Peace.
Much respect to you, my brother. Much respect. Molan, you ready, brother?
Yeah, I am. Spaces can be buggy. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you? I'm good.
I'm doing well. This is my second space that I've been on a couple weeks back.
Okay.
You're so well spoken, and man, I appreciate you. And while I got on tonight, I saw you at a space. I jumped on. I read your Wikipedia. They say, you know, believe half of what's on Wikipedia. You are.
Don't, Wikipedia is horrible. They're pathological lies. But yeah,
Is it?
oh,
Well,
half the stuff on there ain't true about me, but you know. But go
well,
ahead.
I can read between the lines. A lot of this same type of description is used uh, across the media spectrum today.
Oh yeah. Oh,
But uh, your title caught my attention. I want to understand it. Are the model minorities getting a wake up call? What do you mean by model
yeah,
minority?
well, a lot of the people I was talking about, this was really about this woman, Phyllis Fong, who was working at the White House for like 20 something years and Trump fired her and she didn't want to leave. And then they had to physically escort her off the premises because she just couldn't believe that she was fired. And a lot of people like that have the model minority syndrome, whereas they believe that they have been elevated over us and their position is secure. And we're pointing out that a lot of these people who thought they were the model minorities, they're getting a wake up call because there's a lot of situations where these people they have double agents within the mix. They have people who try to undermine our society in the mix. So a lot of that stuff is getting called out. And a lot of these people didn't think that they would get called out. They thought that if they just point the finger and say, hey, look at those bad blacks, that they would have a safe space. Now that they're getting called out, the so-called model minorities, many of them are looking to us, foundational Black Americans, to assist them, and we're telling them to handle their business. So that's what we're talking about.
Right on. I'm a white dude, um, but I've always been my own man.
Yeah.
I got a good family. groups are funny things. There's a guy named Charles Bukowski who wrote a I don't know, soliloquy poem called "The Genius of the Crowd," and people when they get together can be vicious and savage and not ethical and not truthful. So I understand what you're saying, but you seem like a very unique Black American. Some of your views seem to span across, like you can't pin you down into one group, but
Right.
I think you're a really strong voice for Black America. And as a white guy growing up in America, knowing America's original sin, there's a lot of good people in the world. There's a lot of bad people, but they're from all over. They're all races, religion, creed, whatever. But I'd like to believe, and I try to be one, and understand the plight of a Black man. I'm a man. And I appreciate those that push up against the edge in a way that others could call provocative, conspiracy, or you don't fit into this model minority, or you're supposed to vote a certain way. You man, you're the man, Tariq.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying my best, brother. I appreciate you. Brother AJ, hop on in, man.
What's good,
I'm
Tariq? How
good,
you doing?
AJ. How are you?
I'm all right. I got a
Go ahead,
question for you.
AJ. And you called before, AJ? You sound familiar.
I think so, yeah,
And where are you
probably.
from, by the way, AJ? Where's your family from?
I'm probably what you'd call a tether. I'm a Iraqi American. Family's been here since the 70s,
From
60s.
Iraq? Okay, there
Yeah.
you go. Well, if you're a tether, if you do things to undermine us, you're not a tether just because you're a foreigner. It just depends on your ideology. But go ahead. What's your question?
Well, I mean, I'm not a foreigner. I guess I was born in California, but um no, I support the movement, but I'm interested to know when you talk about clearing the
Yeah.
table, right? What are your thoughts specifically if we can all acknowledge we all know the history of the US? What do you think of people in Trump's cabinet or even Democrats in general taking all this money from Israel when they could be doing something that's obviously more important?
Mhm. Well, listen, a lot of the money, there's money being spread all over the place, not just Israel. There's money going to the Ukraine. There was money going to some of these immigrants coming over here. So some of those resources can be diverted back to foundational Black Americans so that we can remedy the compensation that's needed for us. Yeah, it's that simple. So,
How do you lobby for that? You as a leader, as someone who wants to get things moving, how do you look at these groups, these interest groups and say, I should be lobbying in this way or that way? How are you
well, the
pushing
thing
for
is,
that?
we've been having rallies. We've been very vocal at meetings. We've been going to these places. They know what's up. They know what it is. They just have to implement it. These non-citizens have been getting money from the government. People who are not even citizens crawling across the border, there's debit cards waiting on them. Those people didn't lobby for anything. So we have to jump through hoops when you have non-citizens who can just mosey over here and get a debit card. So I don't want to have people tell us we got to jump through all these hoops. They better jump through hoops to give us our damn money, or we're going to do what we did to the Democrats. We made them crash and burn. So they have to figure that out. And by the way, I'm not a leader of anybody. Let's be very clear. I've never claimed to be a leader because we don't need leaders. The code is the leadership. We're being led by our lineage and the code. I'm no leader of anybody. Just wanted to make that straight. You feel me?
I mean, you're a leader in a way of thought. No, you're a
I'm
thought
just
leader.
a person who gives my opinion. Everybody's a thought leader. Everybody here who speaks, they're thought leaders and they give their opinion. That's why this space is open where people can give their opinion and whatever makes more sense and whatever's logical, people say, okay, that's logical. So again, logic is the leader. Logic and lineage is the leader, not me. Logic was already here before me. All right, but thank you so much, AJ. I appreciate you. Ah, man. Okay. Shout out to you guys in here. Let's get Laquita Jones, then we'll get X4 King.
King, what's going on, King?
Hey, beloved, how are you?
Just showing off on these niggas. Just keep stunting on they bitch ass.
Where are you calling from, Laquita?
California,
Yes, indeed. Northern Cali, Southern Cali.
Northern
You
Cali.
up in the Bay?
Yeah,
Yes, indeed. Everything is it? What's the weather like up there, dear?
cold.
It's cold up there. Okay.
Yeah.
Be safe up there.
So he was arguing with it.
Okay, be safe. She's been drinking. Let me let her get back to her drink. Export King, what's up?
How are you doing, my brother Tariq?
I'm good, Export King. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. I'm always intervening in your space. I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, there you go. And you're from? Are you from Nigeria or where? Where are you from?
Why, why did you assume Nigeria first?
Because I I think I've talked to you before. My memory is very bad sometimes, but I thought I talked to you before, and you told me Nigeria. That's why.
No. Always ask. Don't ever assume.
Okay, damn it. I didn't mean to offend you by saying you were Nigerian. But wait.
No, there's nothing wrong with being in Nigeria.
Okay.
I'm African. I'm from Congo.
From the Congo. Okay, there it is. There.
I've been to many times. This is my fifth or seventh times that I intervene in your state.
Okay, my man. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So, what's on your mind?
My mind is the mood of minority getting wake up call. My brothers, my things is uh, we should advocating for something better for our community. Our community, I means African American and blacks and brown people. As it is African, I've been here for 17 years, here in Chicago. You understand?
Okay.
Like, I don't get no government assistance whatsoever. I don't have no food. I don't know what food stamp look like. I don't no, I work, I got my own business. I got the things, the assumptions that are immigrants come over taking care, take our brothers and sisters of African American jobs. My brothers, I don't get it. I don't get it. That's my point.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Look, the issue is there are people who are cool. There's some who come over who are cool. The problem is the ones who ain't really cool. There are people who come over and do things who try to undermine us. You do have a tether class who do things to kind of undermine us. They get in our spaces, then they undermine our positions, they undermine our movements, and they are being called out. This ain't about you taking our job. All right. If you want to drive Uber, drive Uber. We're not tripping on that. We're not mad at you for driving Uber. We're not like, ooh, damn, that Uber driver got my position. We're not looking at it like that. Our issue is when we have the Kamala Harris's, who's not of our lineage, pop up here talking about we need to vote for her because she makes collard greens and she listened to Tupac. That type of tethering, it's getting into political positions where these people have dictates on our lives, on what's going to affect us, and they have these views that are really anti-FBA. That's a problem. That's where we are with it. All right. We don't have a problem with nobody who's cool. Just as long as you're cool, we're cool. But we have a lineage and we're recognizing and we're advocating for things about our lineage. Yeah. We're advocating for things about our lineage. And we've warned people for the longest, hey man, some of you guys are cool, but y'all need to tell us about the tethers among you. Y'all weren't telling us. All right. Y'all were not telling us about the tether class. We had to find out on our own. And um, sometimes some people will catch strays when we get in the tether class up out of here. We told people, don't let us do some straightening because we do some straightening. We're going to do some straightening. And that's what's happening now. The straightening is real. You dig? And it needed to be. Now, hold on. Speaking of straightening from a tether, this tether right here, this is a tether from East Africa. And he was whining like a hoe to me the other day. And he has his forehead covered. Seagal, hop on here. Here's a tether. I remember you, the big forehead, sassy.
How you doing? How you doing, Mr. Nasheed?
Yeah, I'm fine. Why are you? Yeah, this is what's with your sassy tethering?
First and foremost, I qualify as FBA through my mother,
No,
who's from Lubbock, Texas.
no,
I
I've
don't.
I've seen your forehead. There's nothing FBA about you at all. I don't believe that.
Maternal
I don't
birthright.
I don't believe that. That head you got, he has his head covered up for a reason. This nigga's head looked like the hood of a Volkswagen. This dude ain't got no FBA in him. I don't believe it. And you saying a whole bunch of hoe ass nigga shit. Yeah, I don't believe it.
I was just trolling, brother. I was just trolling,
Yeah,
man. Just trying to
but
have
grown men don't do that whole shit. Wind up.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
okay. And I came here to just ask you advice, bro. I'm not here to troll you or
No,
make you, you know what I'm saying, degrade you or nothing like that. I
you
respect you.
can't degrade me. Your forehead is too big. Okay, you can't degrade shit with that Tweety Bird ass head of yours. And don't hop in here talking about you FBA. Nigga, your whole family got huge ass light bulb heads. Ain't no FBA in your damn family. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. This is a cosplaying tether who has vitriol for us. Let me say this. That's another thing with some of the tethers like that. These folks have to try to imitate us with secret hatred.
Good way, good way.